Appeal ba? Right. Hi. Oh, online na to sa Luminous. Oy, magandang umaga. Attorney Ahmed, we promised this last night. Sali ka naman. Hindi ko naririnig kung may audio ko. Teka, ha? Okay. Hello. Wait. May headphone nga tayo. Hmm. Wala. Wala tayong headphone. Attorney. Attorney Ahmed. Huwag mo akong iwanan. Hello! Ay, may mga comments na. StreamYard, hello! Biyaheng America. Morning, Tony. Oh, Attorney Ahmed, dinahanap ka na. Okay, anyway, habang magko-connect si Attorney Ahmed, ang napapanood natin ngayon, as we promised last night, no, is parang assembly, no? Yung final assembly ng mga participants sa nangyayaring transition. What are we exactly waiting for? Wait lang, may message ito ni Ahmed sa atin. What are we exactly? Okay. All right. So what are we exactly waiting for, no? We are waiting for 12 o'clock. Bakit? Saan ba siya, Attorney Ahmed? Dahil ang transition ng term ng isang presidente na nakaupo to the incoming president happens at 12 noon. So, legally and practically and actually, na malilipat lang yung presidency from the sitting President Rodrigo Duterte to the incoming president at that time. So, if you will remember, the last time we saw this was the transition from Noynoy Aquino to Duterte. And previous to that, yung transition from GMA to Noynoy. And in both instances, magkatunggali ang posisyon at ang political political positions ng incoming sa outgoing. But in those moments na nagkaroon ng transition ng presidency, wala kang makikitang any form of animosity. Kahit na pakitang tao man lamang, no, the president always gave this moment the solemnity that it actually deserves. Why? Because this is no longer a political exercise. Asan na yung ating live video, attorney? Ang source pala nito is the RTBM, no? It's a public broadcast of the government, so we can actually use this material. Yun, nice. Attorney Ahmed, sali ka na. Kasi maganda itong discussion habang hinihintay natin yung alas 12. Kasi hindi pwedeng manumpa. Sa pagkakalam ko, and correct me if I'm wrong, attorney, para sa kapakanan ng ating mga viewers and listeners all over the world. Ang dami may mga taga US and taga nasa Singapore si Facebook user, walang pangalan. Attorney, join us na. Huwag ka nang maligo. Hindi natin kailangang maging pogi kagaya ng ating mga kasamahan sa ibang istasyon. Wala naman tayo sa mainstream media. So, Attorney, wala akong naririnig na audio. Okay, yun. Good morning. Watching from Marikina. Oy, hi, from Marikina. Okay, so now, yun. So, ang nakikita natin ngayon, may convoy galing sa Malacanang. So, naka-time yan, no? Na yung arrival is just enough for the ceremonies, which is very short, to be concluded in such a way that at approximately 12 noon, there will be a transition. Why is it so important na yung oras na yan ay masusunod at saka ano ba ang ano nito ang theoretical background? Kung titingnan niyo yung nakikita nating uh, history ng comparatively yung pagpapalit ng Pope, ng Santo Papa. There is a period there which they call sede vacante, or the seat is vacant. And that happens also in the during the time of monarchies, no, na the death of a king will leave the position vacant. Now this is one unique feature of our modern political structure na nakabase sa democracy, na there is no moment of vacancy in that office of the president. And a, a very instructive event in history na makikita natin tong uh, principle na to in practice is that very popular oath-taking na ginawa ni Lyndon B. Johnson sa loob ng isang eroplano right after it was established or made certain that John F. Kennedy died. No? So nung kinarga nila sa eroplano yung katawan, they didn't waste any more time na makarating pa sa destination sa Washington DC sa capital yung vice president at yung katawan ng presidente. But even before they took off, the president had to take the oath right there inside the aircraft para hindi mabakante yung office of the president. Why? Because as the entrusted institution or branch of our government na nagwi-wield ng executive power ng ating sovereignty na nasa tao, kapag nabakante kasi yan for a single moment, you risk that authority to be taken away theoretically. So wala naman siguro makakaagaw niyan, pero yun ang dahilan kung bakit tayo nakakapanood nitong lull moments lagi during inaugurations na hindi natin maintindihan. Nandiyan naman lahat. Nandiyan na si BBM, nandiyan na yung mga international delegates. But why does PRRD have to take this much time? Alam ko, pa-beauty, pa-prinsesa. No. This is a ritual. And kailangan natin tong namnamin at intindihin in its proper sense. Bakit? Yun yung aming pinangako sa inyo kagabi. No? Ano talaga significance nito? By the way, it's only 11:22, so it's 30 minutes away from 12 noon. And nasa na ba yan sila banda? That is, I believe, the Quezon Bridge. Malapit sa Quiapo. No? And just across that bridge will be the venue. Nandiyan na yung Luneta. And so it's just enough time for the president, the sitting president, to settle himself and the ceremonies to conclude. And slowly and very silently, Rodrigo Duterte will go back to becoming citizen digong, and then your former BBM will no longer be an ordinary citizen, but he will now become the slave of this country. Saan ba ito si Atty. Ahmed? Niniwanan man ako. Maliligo daw kasi magpapapogi. But anyway, the weird thing about being a president is this is not a simple job. Siguro kung meron tayong constitutional prohibition against slavery, this is the only form of slavery na pinapayagan or ini-expect. The president no longer becomes a simple person, but is a slave of the sovereign people that he represents. So nasa na yun siya banda ngayon? This is actually, ano ba itong building na itong parang patusok na to? This is somewhere near where hirap pala nating mag-distinguish yung mga lugar dito sa City of Manila, no? Sino ba nakakalam dyan? Sa ating mga audience. Congratulations to our President BBM watching from New Jersey. Hello! Good morning kay Lyceria. Ayun, ano? So, luckily, walang, i-declare pala na holiday ang Manila. So, walang traffic. Ayan, no? So, there is, wait, that's a train. So, must be Taft Avenue. Ayun. Crossing towards the Department of Finance area. Yun, ayan. This is the museum right there in the top part, no? And ito yung bagong building dito sa gawing baba, yung old legislative building that used to be the Senate and the Congress of the Philippines. And dyan din ata nag-hold ng office yung ating Philippine Assembly nung panahon ng Commonwealth. So itong building na to is very historic as the seat of the national legislature ng Pilipinas mula nung tayo ay naging independent. Okay, now, pang ilang presidente ba to si BBM? So we count him as the 17th president of the Philippines. 17th, starting from Aguinaldo. But under the 1987 Constitution, which is different counting, he is from Cory, Ramos, followed by Erap, Gloria, Pinoy, Digong. He is the 8th president under this constitution. So, what do we call him? 17th or 8th? It doesn't matter. No? He is, after all, he is going to occupy that post na naputol man in terms of a sequence by the changes in our constitution. Still hindi nagbago yung ating sistema from that presidential form na tinayo ng mga katipunero sa panahon ni Aguinaldo hanggang ngayon. So watching from California, ang daming taga-US pala na nanonood sa atin. Asan ba sa attorney? Anyway, yun. So, Duterte has arrived at the site, I believe. Oh, no, this is BBM, no? This is BBM's convoy arriving at the venue. Okay? And, makikita natin, no, yung crowd na ito yung mga nakapula dito sa labas ay ito yung mga ordinaryong tao na gustong kagaya natin, no? Gustong masilayan itong momentous moment na to. And okay, wait. This is going to be controversial para dun sa mga taong naniniwala na hindi karapat-dapat itong si BBM na umupo dyan. Well, at the same time, this is a moment of triumph para naman sa lahat ng supporters ni BBM. But the unique circumstance in this particular inauguration is yung overwhelming majority ng boto na nakuha ni BBM as compared to any president before him. No, yung percentage ng kanyang lamang and yung kanyang nakuwang porsyento sa lahat ng boto, which I believe it was more than 50%, no? Was perhaps the only president na merong clear majority support. Bakit? Meron kasi ibang mga bansa na meron pa silang runoff. So kung merong maraming presidential candidates at walang makakakuha ng lagpas ng 50% or a certain benchmark percentage of votes, magra-run off pa sila dun sa top 2 contenders para makuha yung required na majority. And that is similar to the election systems that are used in the very first formal recorded na election procedure employed by the Roman Catholic Church, yung pag-elect ng Pope, na hindi yung unang magkakaroon ng pinakamaraming boto ang automatic na mananalo. So, dahan-dahan yan siyang i-trim down hanggang sa magkaroon ng compliance dun sa minimum requirement. So, okay, they're singing the national anthem right now, I believe, kasi wala tayong audio. So, the time is exactly 11:30. So, napakagandang intindihin natin yung significance ng si Tony, okay. Sana may audio yung ating no? Okay, may tumatawag. Sabihan lang natin itong tumatawag na manood siya sa Luminous Live. Wait, teka. Paano kung nga pala ito Attorney Ahmed, malalagyan ba natin ito ng audio para mapakinggan natin si Tony? Attorney, wait lang. Okay. Nating sapawan yung national anthem. Alright. So, okay. This family, that we see in front of us, represents yung nature ng presidente, yung position ng presidency, na yung first family dare to be there presenting themselves to become servants of this country. Yeah, technically they are embarking on something that will bind them na in a way na none of us are bound, and that requirement na kailangan nilang gampanan, sundin, na magsilbi 24/7 is not an easy task, and for that we can only say thank you to the outgoing president and his family, na never nilang pinakinabangan yung posisyon in a way na pwede nilang gawin, but in respect to the office that the head of the family brought his entire brood to suffer. Actually, it's a suffering. If you read the chismis ng mga pamilya na umupo diyan sa Malacanang, it's not an easy thing. It's a burden for their family. Must have heard how Noynoy himself, when he was a president, just a presidential son, uh, was allegedly shot in one of the coup d'etats. So mga bagay na hindi natin nararanasan ay kailangan nilang pagdaraanan, all in the name of filling that position, filling that office, to serve this 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 country. Pero right now, what we are seeing is the invocation. Usually, ano yan, interfaith. So may imam dyan, merong katoliko dyan na pare, and then merong usually born again, and maybe a tribal religious leader na mamumuno sa panalangin. Why is this significant? There is a thing we hold based on our American president na concept ng separation of the church and state. But that doesn't mean that our state will not acknowledge the authority or the importance of God. In fact, our Constitution begins with acknowledging God and asking for His and kumbaga, ano bang wording yun sa Constitution? We, the Filipino people, ano ba sinasabi dyan sa Constitution? Let's see. Wait. So it only represents itong ating legal system na may separation of the church and state but doesn't start anything without acknowledging God. Because from our own constitution, we recognize that imploring the guidance of God, we proclaim this constitution. No? So we claim our sovereignty in the name of God. So that is what this part of this program represents, our acknowledgement that the authority that is exercised by this president in behalf of the sovereignty of the people was claimed in the name of God. Meron yan siyang theoretical background at alam natin yung panahon na yung mga hari ay kailangan i-enthrone ng isang obispo to be able to claim legitimacy sa kanilang reign. So where is this now? Okay. So this very long ceremony of prayers has a significant is very significant sa ating legal system din. Although wala tayong audio, sana may napapakinggan natin. Wait lang. I'll try to get the audio. Wait ha. Okay. Okay. So, okay, tapos na yung prayer. Now, what will happen after the prayer is short series of introductions and ano. Wait, matawag sa attorney. Ano kayang technical? Hello, bye. Hello, attorney. Yes. Oo nga. Oh, okay. Okay, so hindi ko kasi na naririnig kung merong audio dito, attorney. But anyway, yeah. So, thank you for the technical assistance dyan sa audio. Okay, so there you go. Uh, who do we see here? Let me see. Um, all throughout the campaign, ano, hindi natin nasisilayan itong ating magiging first lady. Who is this lucky woman to occupy that often vacant position of first lady in our in Malacanang. No? So si Duterte, because he was legally uh, ano ba sila, annulled, no, ng kanyang asawa. So technically wala siyang first lady. Si Noynoy, because he was single, wala rin siyang first lady. Before Noynoy, o si Gloria, wala rin siyang first lady. Meron siyang first gentleman. But before Gloria, yun. So isipin mo, the last first lady we had was Loy Ejercito. So ang asawa ni Pangulong BBM comes from the Araneta family. And konting ano lang, trivia. So in along the that line, si BBM and Marojas are actually related in a way, by affinity through his wife, because Marojas and BBM's wife are probably cousins, okay, from the Araneta Cubao family. So si BBM, no, is so lucky to have not only uh, the support of his father's political clout in the north, but also his mother's political clout in Central Visayas from Tacloban, no, yung mga Romualdez. Wala ako, hindi ko nakikita si former First Lady Imelda Marcos. Baka hindi na kaya ng ng dating unang ginang. Oo nga, no, it's very unfortunate that we do not see her there in front, no. So, kung ikaw siguro yung nanay ng ng uupong presidente, you would be the most proud mother on this day. So wait, so there is the parade. Now, what is this? What does this signify now? This pass in review. Sino yung mga nag ROTC dyan? Ang significance ito is yung parade of the honor guards ng bawat service unit ng ating military represents the transfer of allegiance to their new commander-in-chief. Okay? Because as the chief executive, he is also the commander-in-chief of the military. And in our constitution, that represents the civilian authority over the military. And by this parade, okay, this represents the flags of the various services in the military. And you see, kailangan tumayo ng ni BBM at sumaludo, no? To these flags, as these flag bearers salute to him, no? So parang ito yung handshake ng transfer ng authority or ng allegiance ng our military services under the civilian command of our president. So hindi to basta pakitang tao, pakitang parada, or show of force, no. This is actually a very symbolic act. Okay? Now, we have a huge military, so these representations are actually maybe their honor guards. Kasi kung kayo ay nag-ROTC noon, malalaman nyo na merong isang grupo na laging naka-devote as the honor guards, no? Okay, and then okay, what are these vehicles now? Na sumusunod sa ating mga servicemen. Probably this will be the representation naman of our civilian forces. Okay, the PAF, Philippine Air Force. Okay, this is still military units. These are the mechanized units of our military. Pero bakit may police dyan? Ano kaya ang pinalaman ng police? So the Air Force, there's the Army, and there's the police. Anyway, so yun. This is not a military parade, but this is the military presenting itself to its new commander-in-chief. Okay, now explosives and ordnance division. Oh, okay. So these are the major services of our military. Hello mga katambay, Micaela Gonzalez. Hello all, Del P. Yes, some friends are there. So proud of them. And salamat PRRD for taking good care of my friends. Okay. Isang mahalagang habang nakikita natin to, this actually represents that so-called peaceful transition of power or peaceful handover of power that is a primary requisite in a democratic government. Kung wala tayong demokrasya sa panahon ni Duterte, wala sana tayong pinapanood ngayon na ganitong pangyayari. So if this actually debunks all of those claims na Duterte is a dictator, walang demokrasya, because the mere fact that we are witnessing this now is this is the proof of the pudding. Sabi nga nila, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Okay? And yung mga kanyon na yan, yung mga military vehicles na nakikita natin, this is not a show of force kagaya nung nakikita natin na ginagawa yearly sa North Korea, but these are actually presentation of the various units that are now under the command of the president, the incoming president. Explosive ordnance. Not disposal. Okay, thank you, Bong. Disposal. So hindi siya division. Okay, explosive ordnance disposal. Yes, thank you, Bong Perlado. Hello, good afternoon. Watching from Malaysia. Yes, no? So, sa ating mga kaibigan na nanonood who are with us now from outside of the country, okay, mga OFWs, this is an assurance na yung inyong bansa ay nasa magandang kalagayan. Sa totoo lang. Hello, I'm watching from Phoenix, Arizona. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Yes. Buhay yung demokrasya by this exercise. And we must give value to what we see now in order to remove all of those doubts that have been instilled into our minds and wrongfully injected by our very alarmist and very cynical mainstream media na sa Pilipinas ay walang demokrasya. So, Doha, Qatar, yes, no? Watching from Hong Kong. And from London, yeah. Okay. Kaya sa London, you don't have this. You have not seen this for a long, long time because there has been no transition similar to this. Kasi yung inyong prime minister, pag nagpapalit dyan, it's not as important as this one because the sovereignty resides in your queen, right? Am I right? Sino itong nanonood from London? Si Sarah Grace. Tama ba ako doon? No? Kasi sa atin, this is a big thing. This is not as simple as the transition of power between prime ministers. Shout out, Ernie Awesome. Sally Bayo, anong no? Watching from Calgary. Yeah. Yeah, yung sabi ni Sarah Grace, oh. Yes po. Kaya, yan, hanggang ngayon, hati yung mga British dyan. Ano? In fact, majority sa kanila are still supportive of the concept there, which is not the same as ours. Okay? And we're not saying that theirs or ours is more superior, but they're different ng kung nasaan ang soberanya. Sa atin, nasa tao. Sa mga monarchical systems, nasa hari ang sovereignty. Okay? Okay. So, yung mga anak pala ni BBM are all boys. Wow. And they're young, ha? They're young. Sa edad na nakikita ko dyan, there must be below 20s. So, imaginein mo, at that age, makukulong ka sa Malacanang. I pity these boys. They, they will not only have a hard time asking permission from dad na manonood kami ng sine dad with my classmates. Mas mahirap ata humingi ng permission galing sa PSG para payagang manood ng sine. So they will not be able to enjoy life as we do, enjoy freedom as we do. Yeah. So, sino yung mga nagmamarcha na yon? So, this now belongs to the representation, I believe, of the civil governments, the civil service. No? Yung ating executive, no? This is the executive branch. Okay, we see doctors. We see frontliners, I believe, no? Mga health workers. And so now we will see them parade themselves in front of this incoming president. Okay. These are our frontliners. And yes, they really deserve the applause that they're receiving right now for their contribution na hindi matutumbasan ng kahit anong papuri o salapi sa ating crisis na hindi pa natin nalalagpasan, ha? By the way. Okay, so they were given a place of acknowledgement, our doctors and our front. Yes. Sino yun? Yingli, no? Very, very appropriate, no? Na they are given this special attention because soon enough, sana naman hindi, makakalimutan na naman natin yung kanilang existence. Just like they have been taken for granted for so many decades. And yes, they deserve this acknowledgement. Okay. So our bureaucracy, our government has the executive branch has that military arm composed of the armed forces na nagsiserve under the civilian authority of our agencies, no, na nasa frontline ng delivery of public services sa ating mga taong bayan. Okay, now we see maybe these are the heads, these are the representations, the different departments of our government. And itong, ayan, you see uh, they are not, this, okay, they, this president is not, I'm out of words, no? Kasi I'm seeing the genuineness in this gesture na hindi niya tinitingnan na you are now my servants. No, no, no. I see parang ano to, it's a handshake with these agencies that the president and these people will be partners in the fulfillment of their obligations to the people. Okay? Alam mo, walang ere ng wala tayong nakikitang ere ng pride. And I do not see anything. Pride, wala akong nakikitang area of parang alam yung parang lumaki yung ulo. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, no? But I think being a presidential son, having experienced what it is to rule from Malacanang, Bongbong Marcos knows what he's getting into. And maybe this accounts for this humility. He knows that this is not just a position of power, but this entails a lot of responsibility, and he will be needing these people, these departments, to help him execute his functions. In fact, I even see is that hindi siya hindi siya yung mukha ng isang taong nanalo in a contest. I even see some expression from the face of this incoming president na may halong may halong parang look at that. Hindi siya alam niya kung gaano kahirap yung kanyang pinapasok na trabaho. Thanks for live streaming. Inaugural. Okay, yeah, Judy. Yes. Where is the press secretary? Of course. Okay. Ganito kasi yan. All of the heads of the agencies that will be working with this president cannot yet take over their offices until they are sworn in by the president. So officially, those departments will only become vacant in 3 minutes. So the sitting secretaries there, their terms of office will only expire in 3 minutes because it's now 11:57. So none of them can actually function as secretaries or heads of government agencies until they're sworn in. And they cannot be sworn in before the president is sworn in. So, yon. Kaya kailangan nila munang yan, yun. So sabi niya, opo, kasi alam niya gaano kahirap at doon siya lumaki. Yes. There's no better experience than what he experienced being the son of Ferdinand Marcos. And perhaps, oh, yun, I see. Is that Imelda in the back? Oh, yes, I see. Is that Imelda? Ay, tama ba ako? You know, down to earth. Yes, yes, that's the right term, Judica. Down to earth. Na walang ere ng ano, ng victory. Okay. So now we hear from. Mhm. Okay. So you're setting up the stage for the oath taking, and let's listen to this and namnamin natin yung solemnity nitong event happening exactly at 12 noon. Mhm. There you go. There you have it. And in a matter of 2 minutes, natapos ang ating there you go. Peaceful transition of matter of 2 minutes. Transition of a power. And he signs the oath of office. Okay, to seal that oath. So if you will recognize na yung sequence, there was a resolution read by the Senate President representing the legislature, and then the oath uh, led by the Justice of the Supreme Court, representing the judiciary, uh, to usher the transition of leadership in their equivalent or their equal branch of this government, no, sa presidente. So those three institutions in our system are equal, and they exist as check and balance of each other. Okay, and all of these formalities are necessary not only as a fulfillment of legal requirements, but to signify our our continuous commitment to the rest of the world, no, to the ideals na inaccept nila na validity ng ating sovereignty dito sa bansang Pilipinas. Uh, Hindi lang to para sa atin, this is also for the rest of the world to know that we have not uh, reneged on our identity as a democratic republic uh, in the community of nations. That's why you have all of those ambassadors there in the back, uh, watching, representing their governments, uh, to also signify their acceptance of this president as among the leaders that are also in equal standing as far as international relations are concerned. Okay? Even up to this moment, I do not see any air of yabang. May gali. Yeah. Nakaka, anong tawag nito? Parang nakakahiyang magyabang kung itong tao nga na to na nanalo in that manner, by in that election, in landslide, yet wala kang nakikitang ere ng yabang. Parang nakakahiya, no? Magyabang from this moment on. Okay, this is the gun salute. Get the backdrop. You see there Intramuros, the old Spanish center of government when we were colonized, and this legislature, which was built during the time of American colonization to house the Philippine legislature. Although it proved to be insufficient in size as the government grew, so that now became the National Library. But if you have been there, uh, you will see kung gaano ka importante yung bakanting dating National Assembly or na later on naging floor ng Senado ng Pilipinas. And now let's listen to the President in his inaugural address.
step we must take to a place better than the one we lost in the pandemic. Gains made and lost, opportunities missed, well laid plans superseded by the pandemic. Indeed, ours was the fastest growing economy in ASEAN by ways now outdated. We shall be again by radical change in the way the world must now work to recover what we have lost in that fire and move on from there. We, we face prospects of the spread of the war abroad, of which we are totally blameless. We seek friendship with all, but our countries like ours will bear the brunt of it. And if the great powers draw the wrong lessons from the ongoing tragedy in Ukraine, the same dark prospect of conflict will spread to our part of the world. Yet, there is more out there. Like going forward by new ways of doing that the pandemic forces us to adapt, a stronger resilience, quicker adaptability. They are our best prevention. They are our best protection. Quiet reflection in a rough and tumble campaign of a breadth and intensity never experienced revealed some of them, such as the willingness to listen despite the noise, the hesitation to quarrel over differences, and to never, ever give up hope of reconciliation. These gave me the peace to ponder deeper. There are hints of a road not taken that could get us out of here quicker to something better, something less fragile. There is also what you the people did to cope, but this time empowered by new techniques and more resources. You got by, getting some of what you needed with a massive government help, and for this I thank my predecessor for the courage of his hard decisions. But there is a way to put more means and choices in your hands. I trust the Filipino. Imagine how much more you'd achieve if government backstops instead of dictating your decisions. Always there to pick you up when you fall, giving what you need to get past a problem. Imagine if it invested in your self empowerment to bring it closer to taking on whatever challenges come. Imagine a country that, in almost every sense, is you. Now imagine what you and government can achieve together. We did it in the pandemic. We will do it again. But again, I will not predicate my promise to you on your cooperation. You have your own lives to live, your work to do, and there too I will help. Government will get as much done alone without requiring more from you. That is what government and public officials are for. No excuses, just deliver. It was like that once upon a time. I did not talk much in this campaign. I did not bother to think of rebutting my rivals. Instead, I searched for promising approaches better than the usual solutions. I listened to you. I did not lecture you who has the biggest stake in our success. And the forthcoming State of the Nation will tell you exactly how we shall get this done. In this fresh chapter of our history, I extend my hand to all Filipinos. Come, let us put our shoulders to the wheel and give that wheel a faster turn to repair and to rebuild and to address challenges in new ways to provide what all Filipinos need to be all that we can. We are here to repair a house divided, to make it whole, and to stand strong again in the Bayanihan way, expressive of our nature as Filipinos. We shall seek not scorn dialogue, listen respectfully to contrary views, Be open to suggestions coming from hard thinking and unsparing judgment, but always from us, Filipinos. We can trust no one else when it comes to what is best for us. Past history has often proven that. Solutions from outside divided us, none deepened our understanding. They were always at our expense. Never forget, we are Filipinos. One nation, one republic, indivisible. We resisted and never failed to defeat foreign attempts to break up our country in my father's watch. His strongest critics have conceded that. So let us all be part of the solution that we choose. In that lies the power to get it done. Always be open to differing views, but ever united in our chosen goal. Never hesitating to change it, should it prove wanting. That is how agile, resilient republics are made. Our future we decide today. Yesterday cannot make that decision anymore, nor can tomorrow delay it. The sooner we start, the surer and quicker the prospect of achieving our future. These are troubling times. What's happening to others can happen to us, but it will not. We see what's happening. We are witness to how it is being stopped, and we have seen the glory that crowns struggle against all odds. Giving up is not an option. We've been through times of bitter division, but united, we came through to this when it shall begin again, but better. The campaigns I've run have taken me here where I stand today. I listened to you, and this is what I have heard. We all want peace in our land. You and your children want a good chance at a better life in a safer, more prosperous country. All that is within reach of a hard working, warm, and giving race. Your dreams are mine. Pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. How can we make them come true? How can we do it together? But I will take it as far as anyone with the same faith and commitment can, as if it depended entirely on himself. Sa pangarap na maging mapayapa ang ating bansa, ang pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. Sa pangarap na maging maunlad ang ating bansa, ang pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. At sa pangarap na maging mas masinang ang kinabukasan natin at ng ating mga anak, ang pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. We are presently drawing up a comprehensive, all-inclusive plan for economic transformation. We will build back better by doing things in the light of the experiences that we have had, both good and bad. It doesn't matter. No looking back in anger or nostalgia. In the road ahead, the immediate months will be rough, but I will walk that road with you. The pandemic ravaged bigger economies than ours. The virus is not the only thing to blame. What had been well built was torn down. We will build it back better. The role of agriculture cries for the urgent attention that its neglect and misdirection now demands. Food self-sufficiency has been the key promise of every administration. None but one delivered. There were inherent defects in the old ways and in recent ways too. The trade policy of competitive advantage made the case that when it comes to food sufficiency, a country should not produce but import what other countries make more of and sell cheapest. Then came Ukraine. The most vulnerable when it comes to food are the countries furthest away from the conflict, those bearing no blame for provoking it. Yet they face the biggest risk of starvation. If financial aid is poured into them, though it never is, there is nothing to buy. Food is not just a trade commodity. Without it, people weaken and die. Societies come apart. It is more than a livelihood. It is an existential imperative and a moral one. An agriculture damaged and diminished by unfair competition will have a harder time or will have no prospects at all of recovery. Food sufficiency must get the preferential treatment the richest free trade countries always gave their agricultural sectors. Their policy boils down to don't do as we do what we tell you to. I'm giving that policy the most serious thought if it doesn't change or make more allowances for emergencies with long term effects. There is a parallel problem in our energy supply. Sufficient fossil fuel free technology for whole economies has yet to be invented, and it is not seriously tried by rich countries. Again, consider the response of the richest countries to the war in Ukraine. But surely, a free world awash with oil can assure supplies, or we will find a way. We are not far from oil and gas reserves that have already been developed. What we teach in our schools, the materials used must be rethought. I am not talking about history. I'm talking about the basics, the sciences, sharpening theoretical aptitude and imparting vocational skills, such as in the German example, alongside the national language, with equal emphasis and facility in a global language, which we had and lost. Let us give OFWs all the advantages we can for them to survive and to thrive. Our teachers from elementary up are heroes fighting ignorance with poor paper weapons. We are condemning the future of our race to menial occupations abroad. Then they are exploited by traffickers. Once we had an education system that prepared coming generations for more and better jobs. There is hope for a comeback. Vice President and soon to be Secretary of Education, Sara Duterte Carpio, will fit that mission to a T. We won't be caught unprepared, under equipped, and understaffed to fight the next pandemic. To start with, we never got over the pandemic of poor, if any, free public health. The last major upgrade of a public health system, exemplified by the resources poured into PGH, predates the current shambles by 3 generations. Our nurses at home, they just got by. They are out there because we cannot pay them for the same risk and workload that we have back here. There will be changes starting tomorrow. I am confident because I have an uplift in my cabinet. There were shortcomings in the COVID response. We will fix them out in the open. No more secrets in public health. Remember, I speak from experience. I was among the first to get COVID. It was not a walk in the park. My father built more and better roads, produced more rice than all administrations before his. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte built more and better than all the administrations succeeding my father's. Much has been built, and so well, that the economic dogma of dispersing industry to develop the least likely places has been upturned. Development was brought to them. Investors are now setting up industries along the promising routes built. And yet, the potential of this country is not exhausted. Following these giant steps, we will continue to build. I will complete on schedule the projects that have been started. I'm not interested in taking credit. I want to build on success that's already happening. We will be presenting the public with a comprehensive infrastructure plan. 6 years could be just about enough time. No part of our country will be neglected. Progress will be made wherever there are Filipinos, so no investment is wasted. The recovery of Philippine tourism, with its emphasis on accessing nature's beauty, I am sure will exceed expectations. And bigger is not always better, but there's something to be said for economies of scale. And yet the country invites investments in fast rising industries with quick returns and inflicts irreparable damage for future generations. We have yet to see large scale practical solutions to pollution, though some are beginning to emerge. But there are tried and proven new ways of mitigation. Blades have been turning over the sand dunes of Ilocos Norte, harnessing a power all around but unseen long before this day. I built them. The rich world talks a great deal but does a lot less about it than those with much less, but who suffer more death and destruction from climate change and lack of adaptation. We will look to our partners and friends to help the Philippines, who, despite having a very small carbon footprint, is at the highest risk. First, spare victims, then help them recover, and move on to lessen the harmful impact of climate change. We too have our part to play. We are the third biggest plastics polluter in the world, but we won't shirk from that responsibility. We will clean up. You will not be disappointed, so do not be afraid. With every difficult decision that I must make, I will keep foremost in my heart and in my mind the debt of gratitude I owe you for the honor and responsibility that you have conferred on me. Whatever is in a person to make changes for the better of others, I lay before you now in my commitment. I will try to spare you. You have your other responsibilities to carry. But I will not spare myself from shedding the last bead of sweat or giving the last ounce of courage and sacrifice. And if you ask me why I am so confident of the future, I will answer you simply that I have 110 million reasons to start with. Such is my faith in the Filipino. Believe, have hope. The sun also rises like it did today and as it will tomorrow. And as surely as that, we will achieve the country all Filipinos deserve. God bless the Philippines. God bless our work.
There you go.
Maraming maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Magandang tanghali po.
My God. So,
Excellency.
you're probably wondering that why the video and the audio are not coinciding, no? But despite the technical difficulty, what is more important is that speech. Uh, how do you take it to sa ating mga ano, no? Our texters here, our comments here are all puro in awe, shock and awe. Okay, so what what was the most striking thing there for me was his focus on the word we. We ang simula niya, we ang focus niya, inclusive. Kakaiba to si BBM na to. In fact, I'm not shocked at the way he delivers his speech, not only because he has been delivering that kind of speech during the campaign. The first time narinig ko itong magsalita, he was still a governor in Ilocos. And that is really how he talks without any Codigo. But I believe meron din yung guide. May teleprompter siguro yan. But anyway, that was a wonderful speech. Very striking yung kanyang promise not to look back, but to look to the future. All of these details in that very short speech, napakalaki ng yung policy direction na dinedeclare na dito, no? To focus on the future, and he identified key areas: agriculture, second, education. So those are the departments that they have expressed to focus on. Si BBM on agriculture, and then Sara on education. And on education, he clarified kasi yung fear ng karamihan that he will rewrite the history of martial law to favor his father's memory. Well, nilinaw niya kagad, it's not just about history, but on science, math, and actually equipping our future generation to face the world as equals to their counterparts all over the world, na parang disadvantage, yung disadvantage ng ating mga estudyante sa ngayon, no, ay eradicate by transforming our educational system. And then he made focus on preparations for energy self-sufficiency and food self-sufficiency. Those are very bold declarations, given that for the longest time we have been sunod-sunuran, and kumbaga primary, parang the best student tayo ng ng World Bank, ng ano itong Japanese, JICA, at saka ng ano itong isa dito sa may Mega Mall, yung ano yung isang ano dyan, all of these financial institutions, no, na nag-impose sa atin ng mga, nagbibigay sa atin ng mga suggestions. You know, we made it clear na, okay, you can talk, but now we know that we are not just going to follow, think of our own solutions over and above your suggestions. So, well, this is a very good signal coming from a president na nagdedeklara, actually, no, nagdedeklara ng sariling pag-iisip at sariling path for the country na matagal na nating inasam-asam na marinig galing sa isang presidente. At walang pambobola, wala akong narinig na pambobola doon. Ewan ko lang sa inyo, no? So, with that, I think, okay, as this inauguration is about to finish, marami tayong dapat pag-usapan, and marami tayong dapat intindihin from the speech, and abangan nyo yung aming mga posts ni Attorney Ahmed at ni kung sino man ang, kung available pa si Attorney Trixie na maglagay ng kanyang mga puro-puro sa Luminous and sa isang dangkal. So we thank you for joining us sa ating mga taga-subaybay all over the world. So God bless the Philippines and God bless you for being there uh, and supporting this incoming president. And sana magtagumpay nga tayo lahat. So thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Bye. Attorney.